Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z.
And I'm Keith.
And we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. Romanche. Who was I looking up then? It was like their last name is Romanche in origin. And I didn't know that was
no idea.
I knew that was a language, but I didn't know it was an ethnicity.
I don't recall.
And I really only know it's a language from
archery.
But I just watched this Dario Argento movie starring Jennifer Connelly.
Called Romanching the Stone.
It's set in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what, there's at least one scene where some locals are interacting with her. And I don't know if this is Romanche or just what happens in Switzerland, or if there's a distinction between that. But like they said, Capiche and Scheisse. Like, so, it's like German and Italian sounding words going on.
Scheisse means shit.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, we're talking about Eat the Rich.
That was a movie.
Yeah, buddy.
It said like something like it was on the list of like
flops,
like failures,
fannies,
yeah,
follies.
I'm like, what?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I was like,
I guess it didn't make any money.
It.
I don't know.
I was pretty impressed with it for being 1987 and starring a trans person.
Yep.
Who's leading a revolution? What? Again, how did I never...
Right.
I was like last night because, this is the first of our July series. And I was like, this is the perfect like segue from your birthday, like from Pride to your birthday. It's like...
Thank you.
Crazy. Yeah.
It did not disappoint.
It did not. No,
as far as like
I was very into the movie, and I was very worried at first whenever Alex, the character of Alex, first shows up.
Yeah.
And they immediately have like an attitude. I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. And thankfully, it did not go how I thought, because they keep getting shit on, and I'm like, please don't make that be the funny thing. But it was like they keep getting shit on, and then like it was. There was so much about it that was very brilliant, and I feel like almost ahead of its time in how it presented all of these things. I mean, it's 1987, and it was a lot of slapstick, sort of jokey comedy, but it was very much like there was a lot of like racial awareness with it, and like.
Yeah.
Like the mockery of like the having like a diversity hire
kind
of thing.
Right?
I was like, wow, that's insane. Like not mocking white people thinking that they're like having like a token person of color is all the
doing
thing
something
to do. Right. It's just insanely. Yeah, there was so much. I was like, and I will say we both struggled with having any idea what anyone was saying throughout the film. Especially Nosh.
Especially Nosher.
What's going on here? I'm afraid it's something of a waiting game, Home Secretary. Don't you get bollocks. Oi, Sinbad! You say that, I'll put that right on your job to the Jew come down.
Yeah, that was
It's
rough.
too bad he and Lemmy didn't interact more, because that dialogue would have been great.
Fucking Lemmy.
Lemmy is like a whole ass character in this movie, as much as anybody else. You know what I mean?
Insane. Acting is hard out, despite it not seeming like it.
He's a natural.
Yeah, right.
I mean, he's playing himself basically. So
Yeah. All his moles had their own individual dialogue.
Seriously. So this came out of the comic strip, which is like
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar.
yeah, but apparently this is a group of folks who made stuff together. But that included Francis Saunders.
Oh,
And all the Young Ones people. So Rick Mayall and Adrian Edmondson, who played Viv on the Young Ones, was actually married to Jennifer Saunders, I think.
Oh.
And I think there's a character he plays in the movie called Eddie Monsoon. Apparently, I don't know who that is. I don't remember who that is in the movie because nobody's character names are mostly unused. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but that's why her character in Ab Fab was Eddie.
Oh.
Or that's where she took it from.
Interesting. That's so funny.
Yeah. So him and Nigel Planer,
Yeah.
who was also on the Young Ones. Anyway, but they did they did another movie before this called The Supergrass, like a year before.
Okay.
That's all. It was It was apparently a bigger, or more wider success.
Yeah. Crazy that a movie that's basically
I know, right?
tearing apart the elite and making a mockery of really when they open the restaurant and they call it Eat the Rich, and they are just like literally like slapping customers in the face, and they're like spitting on them and shit like that, and they're like insulting them, and they're like, isn't this the place to go? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh man.
Are you the manager?
Mind your own business.
We'd like to book a table for two.
We're fully booked. Anyway, you look fat enough already.
Do you hear that, darling? Apparently we're too fat. I love it.
Yes, you must squeeze us in somehow. We hate polite restaurants.
No, piss off.
It's it's like it's a critique that holds up because it's that thing where it's like if it's like if it costs enough money, someone's going to pay for it.
If it's gatekept at all.
Yeah. Right.
If there's any barriers placed in the... Yeah. I wish there was a little piece... I mean, of course, I always wish, that they went harder on the revolutionary aspect.
Right.
But especially since dude flat out says, eat the rich to feed the poor. And Alex is like, exactly, or whatever. Yeah. There's no, other than making rich people eat other rich people, it's unclear what they're doing with the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like if there's money exchanged, where's it going?
Yeah, right. Also the thing that is slightly confusing about it is that they're like, we're gonna take the monarchy, we're gonna take the government, we're gonna destroy it all, and then they just open a restaurant.
They just go and retake the old Alex's old and place.
She works at a place called Bastards.
Yeah.
Oh God, so fucking funny.
And I like that they didn't lean on that so hard.
And when they open Eat the Rich, I don't know. I'm sure you noticed this, but all of the menus are just have Bastards crossed out.
Oh, is that what it was? It's sprayed out. Yeah.
No, like the menu, just the menus.
Yeah.
Like it just. I don't even
just
know if
crossed
it
it out.
says eat the rich. It's just like bastards is just crossed out of all of the menus. It's so fucking funny.
I just like when the guy. I think it's the final scene when they come and kill everybody, and the guy's like, "Hello, bastards."
Also, I kind of liked the part where they're like,
Also accurate though, in the sense that like so much of like, it's not unusual that someone gets radicalized and then all they really want is to get revenge.
yeah. I did kind of like the part where they go to the restaurant and they're literally there with bows and arrows and they're just like shooting people, and it takes so long for anyone to actually start giving a
React.
shit. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know that was intentionally done as a piece, but I'm like that does feel more realistic in regards to how people respond to things like that, because a lot of times I don't know if it's a brain chemistry thing or what, but like when something like I'm taking it a very dark place, but like when, I saw the person who'd been stabbed, their shirt was covered in blood except for like a small strip. And in my head, I was like, I thought they had a dark colored shirt on with just a strap of a bag. That's what I read it as. And it took it took quite a bit for me to register that wasn't, it was the invert. Like I was not seeing a strap of a different color. The one piece that I was seeing was actually just what the shirt was, the actual color of the shirt. Like it takes a very long time when you're not used to seeing something, like if something very,
I mean that's what it is.
Right. You're like, I don't understand.
A little bit like mob mentality of like, you don't want to be the first one to speak up.
Yeah. Like if you're in a group and like you're like, it smells like fire, but I don't trust myself in a whole group of people who aren't yelling fire. You know what I mean? It's like, it's crazy, but it happens. It's so weird.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
I like that. I appreciated that. Also, cannibalism is such a tiny part of this thing.
Right, yeah.
Fortunately.
Mm-hmm. The fucking...
I like that he gets broke up because Nosher and Sandra are like, this tastes an awful lot like human flesh. No explanation for how they know that.
And she goes, it does. And then
Right.
she just keeps eating.
Also, did I miss a part about how they know it was the prime minister? Is it actually the prime minister? Did we see that for a fact?
So
who was the prime minister?
I don't know specifically who the prime minister is. I don't know that we ever actually see the prime minister.
Okay.
We see his wife.
We
who's
do?
giving I remember when Sandra's like, I can't imagine. You know.
Okay.
It must be nice being married to the Prime Minister. Gorgeous. No other word for it. Tell me, how are you getting on at number 10? Because your house isn't quite as big as ours, is it?
Yes, but at least my Harry is the most powerful man in the country, and I can assure you that we just adore our wonderful perks that go with it.
Really?
What I feel happens is like...
You see it like a headline or something, or like they do a news report about like how he's missing.
Well, no, what happens is there's a phone call and they're like, or you hear someone say, right this way, Prime Minister. And then it cuts to a scene where they're like, Prime Minister missing. So you're supposed to infer that they killed the Prime Minister and are feeding him to people or whatever. But it happens when Lemmy tells Clementine or whatever, Clandestine or whatever his name is, Comrade Secrets, whatever his name is, when Lemmy tells him that he's like, it's human flesh, like they're eating people, and he says, I have an idea. And then he, you get the idea that he sends the prime minister to this new restaurant. I don't remember what happened.
But it happens all off screen.
Sort of like, yeah, like he's saying, I have an idea. Then they're like, table for prime minister. You hear them say that at another part. And then it cuts to prime minister missing. So yeah, you don't really see the prime minister eating there. It's just like you're supposed to, I guess, infer that they killed him and are cooking him for people.
Thank you. I just want to make sure I didn't miss it.
I mean, you did, but you also didn't.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the movie is essentially just a mess. I mean, it's like, I'm not going to say it's like, I mean, I was impressed with it.
It's chaotic, but it's far more
chaotic.
structured than...
Yeah. This is the thing. It's got all the sort of like notes of like a slapstick sort of like 80s British like satirical sort of like, you know, spy comedy kind of thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
But at the same time, it doesn't have gags just for the sake of gag. Like it does, but it finds a way to tie them into whatever's going on.
Right. Which I appreciate.
Right.
A lot.
And so that made it a lot easier to digest for me because I have such
100%.
a hard time with shit like that.
This kind of movie, I'm always, you know, because I loved like the Abrams Zucker movies growing up, which are like Airplane.
Oh, okay.
Kentucky Fried Movie.
Unfamiliar.
Shit like that. And then like Amazon Women on the Moon is not, I don't think it's them, but it's the same kind of thing where it's just like, you go from one bit to the next almost, and like
it's so exhausting. Yeah,
it is.
It smacks of, for me, that's how I feel watching sketch comedy.
Right.
That's exactly the same feel. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't do this. I can't keep doing this.
Right.
What do you want from me? I've laughed a couple times already. I can't keep doing that.
But it's harder when it's all presumably within the same universe and just
right. Exactly.
Like an Airplane, you get this whole bit at the beginning with the Hare Krishna. Which has nothing to do with the plot of the movie, you know. Anyway.
I've never seen any of the Airplane movies.
Yeah, I don't think you would like them.
I doubt I would.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway. The plot is this person works at a high-end restaurant and is treated like shit in hilarious ways that are also relatable.
Oh, yeah.
Oi! Where's my tip?
Oi! Where's my fucking tip?
Which is the part where they ask, where she's like, "Where's my tip?" and they throw change at her, and then she's just on the floor grabbing for it. I'm like, oh god, that's literally what it feels like to get. Oh, it is so visceral, that
100%.
part. I was like, oh.
That whole opening, that whole
my God.
beginning sequence with them.
And they're like, you need to be nice to the customers. And like, it seems like almost no one else is actually expected to do that. You know?
Right.
And it was almost too real. That I was like, am I going to hate this
the one
movie?
scene where she's at the espresso machine and getting a talking to while the other guy's in the background.
Also, the fact that she's drenched, completely drenched.
For a lot of the movie, by the way.
Yes, and for most of the beginning of the movie, she's covered in water. And she grabs, like, the fucking espresso cup, and it fucking breaks.
Off the top, the
and
saucer
she's still, like, making it. Oh, God.
I believe that was an accident, but it was so perfect.
Had to have been. It was so good, yeah. Anyway, you were saying you wanted to talk about.
Well, yeah, I just want to address them as an entity because it's unclear in the movie. I think there's maybe twice that I clocked that Alex is included in a plural pronoun that is male. So like you boys, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, unknown. They're
very much.
They're
presenting. Full makeup. They have painted nails. They usually are wearing some kind of heeled shoe of some kind. They're
long
very
hair.
feminine. Yeah, they have long hair. They're very feminine in how they act. And I believe they're credited with like a female name. That's what it said on IMDb.
For
the role. Like they're like
I think they're called I think they're credited in this film as Al.
Oh, I thought it says
which is ambiguous.
on IMDb. It says credited as Lana.
Really?
Yeah, it says they're Al. What is their last name? Pillay, and it says credited as Lana Pillay. That's what it says on IMDb. That's why I.
So they've gone by a lot of different variations of their birth name and otherwise. And I don't know, Wikipedia uses female pronouns for the most part.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like probably it's not that important to them.
Right. Probably similar to Susie Eddie Izzard.
Yeah, right. Like now I think I believe they go as they have been going for a while as Lena P.
Lena P. Okay.
But they're all like, their birth name is like Alan Pillay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of... And they did drag, and then...
Yeah.
Seemingly were identified as a transsexual woman.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
And question mark. So,
yeah.
I just want to address that because they're great.
Yeah.
Amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
When she gets the fucking gun.
I didn't want to kill them! They did it! They made it do it! I'm sorry, but it's not our fault! Quick, Ron, get that car before I run out of bullets!
That was so funny to me.
It was going to be a gag.
That's what I was worried at the beginning.
It's just
once it said,
a gay man
I went to IMDb because there was no, I mean, I didn't like I said in the lobby, if you're a patron, you already know. I did not know anything about this movie whatsoever.
You're welcome.
And you told me it was a British satire, and I was like, oh god.
Yep.
So thinking British satire, British comedy movie, and almost the first thing you see is essentially a trans woman from the 80s. I was like,
right.
Oh no, this is going to be, I was like, oh god, this is not going to be funny. This is going to feel so awful.
Right.
And it kept going, and she was not the joke.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, wait, is she going to be the main movie person? So I looked up on IMDb, and it was a transsexual woman, and I was blah, 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 blah. And I was like, she's not the joke. I was like, holy shit. And I was like, oh, wow, this movie is impressive. Because she's never the joke. There's never a joke about...
Not about gender.
No, no. There's never... She isn't the joke. It's a joke about poverty. It's a joke about, her being black.
Right.
Which, another thing we forgot. She's a black trans woman.
Yeah. And somehow still alive.
Exactly. And they taught, it's very, she's given racial discrimination.
Yeah.
She's, there's all kinds of stuff that happens, but it's not, her wearing makeup, her being feminine, all this stuff. None of that is ever remarked upon or joked about.
Right.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, 1987? How are you doing it?
Their gender and sexuality is never brought up.
Never brought up. Absolutely not. Maybe there's I don't know. Yeah, it's unclear at the beginning when they're on the phone and they're like, "Can I sleep under the stairs?"
Or you have that broom closet or whatever.
Yeah, they're like, "Can I sleep?" And they're like, "Well, I never liked you anyway," or whatever. Or I never liked you either. Oh god. And when they run into the people on the street, and Alex is like, they're like, Alex, how's it going? Oh my God. She's like, I lost my job. I'm homeless. I'm cold.
And you think he's going to pull something?
And he's
going to hand her some cash.
He's reaching in his pocket and he pulls out a handkerchief. And for a second I was like, oh, he's going to be wipe yourself off or something like that. Cause it's raining.
Right.
It's literally just raining on her. And he dabs his face while he's under an umbrella. He's like, you should get indoors. You're going to get soaked out here.
Yeah.
And then just goes inside. Oh, God. Oh, fucking. when when she's in the pub or whatever, and Nosh is on TV saying how poor people are poor because they suck.
Yeah.
And she's like, boo.
Yeah.
And the guy turns around and he just has a shirt on that says, I hate blacks. Oh my God. I lost my fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's so fucking blatant. And like, what I appreciate about it is it doesn't go farther than that in the sense of like, you don't hammer it in. It's just it's literally giving you a visual, like, you're not supposed to just infer. You're supposed to know that she's not safe in this environment, and it's letting you know. And I was like, this is so, like, imagine, and like, it's so perfect that like a white middle-aged man is wearing that shirt and thinking it's fine. Like, that's 100% accurate. I was like, oh my God, this is so painfully true. And so, I mean, it's not any different than wearing like a shirt with the fucking like Confederate flag on it and shit like that. It's the same exact thing,
right.
It's not. Oh God, there was a lot about this that I was like, this is really not.
And when she first gets fired and they just hang, I mean, you talked about the diversity, but like they just hang a sign that says, "Wanted black waiter, must be good looking."
Oh God. Like, it's so, oh my God. There was so much about this. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, I was surprised. There's like, like, I'm such a fan of like the, like, movies that sort of, like 80s movies especially, that like really went hard on like fashion and like trying to evoke the times. And I feel like this movie really did that because it was trying to like show you how people, I fucking love 80s fashion, good or bad. Like I don't get, like, I'm not saying I want to recreate everything, but I swear to God, like the 80s did things that I absolutely love. And you're
the only one.
I know.
You're alone in this.
I know. But like, the fucking, all the hair, like the Dawn French, I'm going to say this. I feel like this might be controversial. I love Jennifer Saunders. Mm-hmm. I think Dawn French has a slightly better comedic timing. I think she's kind of funnier than Jennifer Saunders.
She had to be because she's the fat one.
Exactly. She's really pretty too.
I think she's so hot.
So fucking weird. She's lost so much weight that she's now not as hot.
Yeah. I know. She's got sort of that John Goodman thing. I follow her Instagram though.
Oh, okay. No, but like, she's so funny and she's so, I don't know if you clocked this, but the second cause like you see her come in the I was like, Dawn French. As soon as I saw her in the background, no. I was like, that's her.
And yet I'm like, was that Saunders? And you're like, no. And then it was.
I swear to God, it wasn't at first. It might not have been at first because.
I think maybe you thought I was referring to someone else.
Maybe.
Because I feel like there's two people that show up there to kind of dress similarly.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Like, she
looked like she had just had a chemical peel. I didn't understand that makeup choice.
Also, the bit was that he was constantly dancing with someone else. Like, he was just dancing. Rick Mayall.
Oh yeah.
He was just like constantly.
Like, was he with one of them?
Yeah, he was dancing with
Saunders.
Yeah. And then the next moment, he was dancing with someone different. So I don't know if he was like every time I saw him, he was just dancing and like it was someone else next to him. So I don't know. I don't know if it was like
So there's almost like two distinct storylines in that you're following this group that eventually is Alex and Ron. The guy who looks like Gerard Depardieu, and then
Jimmy Fagg,
and Fiona.
Okay. I said Vivian, but you're probably right because I don't do names.
Who's the person who's part of the anyway? Whatever. So there's that group. Once it splits off from the other storyline when Alex and Ron are running from the cops and end up in the middle of nowhere, rurally. Mm-hmm. They eventually meet up with Jimmy Fag, and then Fiona eventually. But and then you're following them as they make their way back to London and start some mayhem. Mm-hmm. But then you have Commander Fortune.
Yeah.
That's
who it is.
Got some, I guess, a military position.
Yeah.
But he's part of like a fifth column. He's working for, apparently the USSR because he's like, I've gotten the word that I need to defect back or defect to Russia, and Lemmy, who's his like guy,
Gal Friday,
who does his wet work for him, like runs guns and has people murdered or whatever, presumably. So you find, and then you get Nosher has got his own sort of thread.
He'd have to because who can understand him or hold a conversation with him?
I mean, it's almost too bad because he's like kind of the funnest character,
almost,
and you know he's clearly the joke is that he's a fascist, populist, and boy does that resonate.
I know they were like shit was happening, and they're like, I was like, this is literally because they sort of like fabricate a scandal. It's not. I mean, it's a real scandal, but like they put him in the back of they put him in a car with or they get him in like I'm assuming she's a prostitute or she's just a late. I don't know.
No, she's part of the movement, and they're honeypotting him.
Oh.
Because remember they were like, can't we just start a rumor that he's gay? And then
I know, but she joins the movement after.
No, I think she's already part of it. That's why they are able to put her onto. I think she's aligned with Commander Fortune already.
Oh! I see. Okay. So
that's why Lemmy's like, oh, I just saw someone I used to know later in the when they come back.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
So, she gets in a car, like she basically hooks up with Nosh in the back of a car, and like Commander Fortune sends the paparazzi or whatever outside, and they catch the both of them getting out of the car. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you just hooked up with someone, and he's like, yeah, I did,
Right.
And it turns out where people are like, it's the thing where the people are like, oh, finally we have someone that right. tells it like it is, right. and like isn't pretending and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, literally, it's.
Siege hero Nosher Powell has done it again. At long last, Britain has a politician who has proved that he is no slouch when it comes to giving the housewife a good portion. We say Britain needs you. Keep it up, Nosh. !
Oh, my God.
There's so many. If I was British, I might know who all was everyone. But I didn't, so. But I'm
you
not.
Mean as
so
far as
actors?
Cameos?
Yeah. I know that. I know Rick Mayall and Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French, and I recognized Frank from Hellraiser. Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. He plays the hot waiter, and I was like, I know that asshole from somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it's just that I'm perfect casting, and everybody knows it. Yeah. What? Well, it's just not easy when you're as good looking as I am.
How about Sir Paul McCartney?
Oh my God. Try to forget.
Not funny at all. I'm like, he was probably just jealous of because George Harrison, I think I've mentioned this before,
right.
bankrolled all the fucking Monty Python movies.
Right. You told me that, and I said a different George Harrison. And you were like, no, George. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So confusing.
There's a character in one of my favorite books of all time, Dahlgren by Samuel R. Delany. There's a character named George Harrison. And it's a joke. It's like,
he can't.
D. George? I think he's black, too. So, so there's that.
Wow. That's
edgy.
Yeah. It's really saying something about the Beatles. I don't enjoy the Beatles.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. I like their music's fine. Everyone's
You know
like,
what?
you can't.
I hate Nazis. Since we're sharing controversial opinions.
I really wish I could just fart right now.
Me too.
I'd just be like, the lobby for my own private Idaho, I farted directly into the mic twice, and I listened to that. I laughed so fucking hard. I kept listening over and over and over again.
Congrats on making yourself laugh.
Also, the Desert Hearts one, when you said the thing,
Yeah, get you through the good times. That one? Yeah. Thanks for laughing at my speech.
What the fuck? It was only because I told you this, but it's because you said it like that, and then you immediately were like, "It's good, right?" And it was so fun. Just the way. Sorry.
I didn't realize I had whatever happened there. I thought I said it normal at the time, so I didn't even notice until I listened back. So,
Sorry.
Well, nice surprise for yours truly, Editor-in-Chief.
Sorry. The pregnancy happens. What I kind of enjoyed about, I thought the pregnancy thing was funny because she's like, I'm pregnant, and then she's like, it's like
huge in the next
and
scene.
then yeah, she's like has the baby.
They bring out the baby.
I know. Oh God, I know. He's like, you had a baby, and then he brings out what's obviously like a fucking 6-month-old child
with a diaper on.
With a diaper on.
Full head of hair.
No, not even trying to make it look freshly born, which I was like, thank God, because I hate that shit so much. But then Nosh comes in, because like, she's the person that was in the car with him, so it's Nosh's baby. And he comes in, he's like, oh, that's my, because he, in like a previous scene, he said he wanted a son more than anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's a baby boy. And he's like, it's mine. And she's like, no. And then, like some things happen or whatever. And it's Ron finds her and he's like, come on, we have to go. And she looks at him and she has a black eye.
Yeah.
And I really like that not because I love when women get beat up by men.
You do.
But I was like, it's such a subtle way to like belittle his character without even saying anything. Like it's letting you know without like, for being a comedy movie, it was telling you that like, because you could say like, oh, well, if she was like, oh, he took her, he took our baby, it'd be like, well, he's the dad and he has a right to, blah, 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 blah. But it's just that little head turn where you see that she has this big black eye. It lets you know that he didn't care. Right. It's not about what's best for the kid. It's not about what's, well,
it's also, I'm a little mixed about this. Like, I wouldn't have liked to, I'm a little mixed about her black eye, but period. Just because.
That's fine.
But I do like that before that, I mean, his whole character is he beats the shit out of people.
Yeah.
But it's the first time you see him hit a woman,
Right.
presumably.
Yeah.
I think. Or you don't actually see
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
but
yeah.
that it's implied. And like his wife, his partner, you know, like he's never physical with her.
Yeah.
He's not physically abusive, I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it shows that, yeah. I guess I like that he's a fascist and a shithead
Right.
otherwise, and it's not just like, see, anyone with this ideology is automatically a domestic abuser, you know?
Right.
'cause that's kind of a
Right.
trope.
Yeah. It's that, yeah. And also I like, because they do the thing where he's like, I saved the baby from being, you know, cause like, they're like, what, Commander Fortune, what he was trying to do was get Nosh in trouble for eating the prime minister.
Right.
And so Nosh sort of tries to turn it around all of a sudden.
Right.
And be like, no, I saved the baby. I wasn't eating the prime minister. I was making sure the baby didn't get eaten. You know, because he's like, I saved the baby from getting eaten. And then you see that he, you know, he did this thing. So you know, they made sure that, you know, he's full of shit, you know, like, because you know, there's not, you know, that he is not actually confused and trying to save the baby. You know, he's being like violent and fascist and horrible, you know, and it's just because there's something he wants, and that's it. And that's why he acts that way.
Right.
And even like with the, like with his wife, Sandra or whatever, when she locks him out,
Yeah.
and he's like, let me in, and she says no, and then he, like, there's a cop or whatever, guard outside, and he's like, you have your gun? And he's like, yeah, and he's like, just, you know, shoot off.
Shoot the lock off.
And so he does, but it's like bolted from the inside so that he still can't get in. And so you're shown that, like, he still is going to use violence, even if it's through someone else, to get his way. And it's an interesting sort of character, like, and I kind of appreciate where they show that, because at the beginning, he, like, there's the group break into the embassy or whatever. I wasn't fully sure about that.
At the beginning?
Yeah, and then he stops them, and then he, like, gets the guy from the embassy, and he gets the head of the other guy, and he's like, you guys better, you know, never fight again and stuff like that. So it shows that he's like,
oh yeah, what?
Yeah, it was very confusing, but it shows that he's like taking, you know, he can be misconstrued as not always just doing the worst thing possible.
Right.
Like he's like, oh, I'm going to stop fighting, you know. And so people will be like, oh, I can see, you know, maybe he's a jerk, but he gets things done,
right.
You know, which is how a lot of
times. The trains ran on time.
Right, exactly. Which is how people a lot of times judge things without understanding that, like, the ends don't always justify the means.
Correct.
And it doesn't always mean anything. Like, you know, like that's happens right after he is like, I want to be prime minister.
Yeah.
And some people are rich and some people are poor, and the poor people are that way because they fucking suck and everything about them is worthless. And then you're shown, and I was a little confused because I was like, wait, how am I supposed to feel about him? I was like,
right.
Is he the good guy or is he the bad guy? And I kind of appreciate that, especially as a, like, satirical look, is that, like, you're kind of being shown this, like, ambiguous sort of, like,
yeah,
like, is he the bad guy? Is he the villain? And turns out, yeah, he's one of them, but he's not the only one. And that in and of itself is saying something that a lot of movies don't. Like, he's not the sole problem. He's not the only issue.
Right.
He's not the only one that needs to be addressed. He's just part of a larger issue.
Yeah.
That's much bigger. And yeah, there was a lot about it that was over the top. And it's very heavy-handed, but I still think it said a lot of things in such a way that I really wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's got a lot more complexity.
Yeah.
Despite, yeah, like you're saying, like some of the very on the nose gags or what have you, or comedy. Like it's also got a lot of nuance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was impressed with it, actually. Especially going in and being like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this at all. Like, I mean, that's always what I recommend is
going in blind.
Going in blind and not expecting much.
Absolutely.
And you'll be thrilled every time.
You're less likely to be disappointed.
I'm not going to say you won't be disappointed because it'll still happen.
I'm saying you're less likely.
Yeah. Because I've still expected nothing and been like, wow, how was I still...
Yeah.
Still somehow I got... That's one we should watch for the pod.
I've never seen it.
But it has James Spader, Robert Downey Jr., and Andrew McCarthy in it.
And more importantly, it's got on the soundtrack Slayer doing a version of In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
And it has, is it Jamie Gertz? Is that who it is?
Who the fuck is that?
Well, she was in Lost Boys. And I think she's really hot.
Okay.
That's all.
We could do Lost Boys too.
Yeah, we
seen that in a while.
should. We should. It's been a long time.
Who directed that?
Huh?
Is that like Schumacher or somebody? Who directed that?
I don't remember. I'm not good at remembering directors. I'm very bad at that.
So real quick, Sandra was played by Sandra Dorn, who apparently was like a 50s British cinema bombshell.
Oh, shit.
And a lot older than you would guess.
Really? How old is she?
Her role in this movie. Or for me, anyway.
Oh, okay. I thought she was like in her 50s.
No, she would have been like 60.
Oh, it's not bad. Wow, yeah.
She died in 92.
Wow.
But she was great. I mean, that makes sense. But
yeah.
She had been acting for a while.
Right. I was remembering. I remember that I was thinking that last night when we were watching. I was like, she's really performing in this.
Yeah.
She's really doing some stuff, and I was really impressed with her. Especially like
another character
next to Nosh, who he's just like, she's like, Nosh.
Yeah.
You always do this to me. You make me feel terrible, you know. And I'm like,
that's another thing. Like
for the dialogue she was given, for the part she had, she was acting. I was like, you're acting.
No, absolutely. Takes a while to see it.
Yeah.
And you sort of expect to carry, and that's another, to its credit, you would, in a lesser movie, or in a movie you've seen more versions of.
Yeah.
She would be just a ditz.
Yep.
Just a gold digger.
Yep.
Her weight would be a joke.
Yep.
And like they show her eating chocolates with the
but she's
the servant or whatever.
Him,
but
so.
it's not really.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. There wasn't a lot of
fucking scene where he's serving her breakfast.
Oh God.
Their dynamic is awesome because it's like super sexually charged, but it's also seems like they don't have a physical relationship at all.
Well, what the funny thing is like he seems desperate for her sexual attention. Like she'll be like, "Can you do something?"
Yeah, he's not like throwing himself at her, but he's definitely like wants her to be impressed.
It feels like he's expecting her.
Yeah.
To try to seduce him.
Right.
He's always like, yes. And then she's just like, okay. And then he's like,
But she's also not into it.
Right. Yeah. She's like, oh, that's nice. But yeah, it's very interesting.
Again, like a nice subtlety that like.
Yes, I agree. Right.
For instance, White Chicks. A movie I've seen recently for the first time.
Sorry that I made you watch this culturally significant film.
I'm not mad at you.
Well, it feels like you're mad at me.
I'm mad at that film for existing. There's one. I'm sorry. I had more expectations.
Yeah. I don't know why you did. That's on you.
I know. I agree. Why you keep?
I'm looking at how much time we have. No, but I have a lot of anxiety today because it's fucking Father's Day and I have to call my parents. And we know that it's a great time to talk to one's parents on the phone. Oh, wait, you don't know.
Happy Father's Day to the United States of America. The UK Denny's. Father of the United States, because we're recording on Father's Day, and it's going to come out on Independence Day. Nailed it. Perfect sense. Put a bow on it. Send it off. Kiss it on the bottom. Smack it on the mouth. Brand new baby boy.
Would you recommend this film?
I don't know that I could recommend. My ratio of yes, I would.
No, I was hoping that you would. No. Okay.
I strongly recommend. I highly recommend.
Oh.
I forcefully recommend.
I command you.
Don't you want to dance? Say you want to dance with somebody who loves me.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it as being like it's surprisingly like despite being like kind of a slapsticky comedy. Oh, the part where they're driving. Oh my god, and they pull off to the side of the road and then they start covering the car with camouflage and they just are pulling twigs off and setting it on the car. Oh my god, it was so stupid funny. And like they take so much time and they're just pulling leaves
and
off.
It doesn't matter. They find the car immediately.
Oh my god. Oh, it's so funny. Like
yeah, let's talk about some specific scenes because I'm gonna need some reasons to put clips in.
Okay.
You tried to bring up when she gets the gun.
Oh god. It's so good when he's like one for the kids. He does that a lot. One for the kids.
The photographer, yeah.
And she's like,
yeah, is that Adrian Edmondson? Is that character? What's that character's name? That's the thing.
I don't know. Yeah, there's like, yeah, there's a lot of characters in this film that I have no idea who they actually were.
Well, it turns out it's one of those where
everyone has their own name.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. Also, Angie Bowie's in this movie.
Who?
Oh, that's the Prime Minister's wife.
Angie Bowie?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
She looks exactly like Toni Collette. Robbie Coltrane's in there.
Yeah, he's in there.
Doing a voice.
Oh, shut up, Pickles. It's my birthday. It's my birthday, and I'll sing if I want to. Sing along.
It reminded me a little bit of when he plays Daphne's brother.
Oh, does he?
Mm-hmm. And he's also incoherent.
So, lads, I tell you what, you old bloody fight. Come round there, there's a lot of them around there, all that sort of thing. I tell you what, you bloody well for himself.
That's right, Michael. Fraser does very well for himself.
Fucking Jimmy Fag.
I know. If you think we're just making a joke, that's the actual actor's name.
Fagg.
And the character he plays is Jimmy.
Right.
And the actor is Jimmy Fag. I mean, if it's pronounced like fog or something, I don't...
No, there's no way.
Fag. Jimmy Fag.
Yeah, I was going to say, he must be part of the comic strip. And like his only credits are this movie and the series the comic strip presents.
Wow.
I mean, he's got two others, but three others.
He looked so familiar to me.
because he looks like Gerard Depardieu. Only English. Or whatever. His hair was so distracting. To me.
It was, yeah. Mostly that it just looked like it needed to be washed one time.
Or at least combed?
Combed for sure, but washed first. It looked like it had some things in it that brushing would hurt without shampooing them out first.
Some part of it was always in his face and him having to brush it aside. Oh, who played Ron? Was he a comic strip regular?
No, yeah, he might have been, but he was another one. He was in, oh God, what was he in? He was in something that I saw, I think. Willow. He was in Willow.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, oh, I know him from that. I was obsessed with Willow when I was a kid.
Another one I've never seen.
Yeah. I tried to watch it as an
loving both. fucking Van Cliburn and Peter Dinklage. Val Kilmer and Warwick Davis. Jesus. Come on, Val Cliburn.
No, I'm processing.
All right.
That's so mean.
What? There's two famous little people actors.
Who's the guy from Twin Peaks?
Oh yeah. Is he still alive though? And the guy from Howard Stern, or the guy that played Mini-Me in Austin Powers. What?
I'm.
Why are you laughing at the little people?
Yeah, that's what it is. I'm laughing at the little people.
What else could you possibly be laughing about?
Laughing about.
All right, now you're just being hateful.
I can't remember Vern something.
Oh yeah.
I watched him on oh God, I can't remember what it was. He had like a serious drinking problem. What?
I never put this together. The guy from Twin Peaks who played Dr. Jacoby, with the 3D glasses. Okay.
I've never seen Twin Peaks.
Russ Tamblyn, who I presume is the father of the other Tamblyn.
Amber?
Mrs. Ross Perot. Chris Rock. No, what's his name? David Frost. You love it. You love it. You love me. You love all this. Not gonna get me. They're not gonna get us. See, we're in this space where Z is laughing, and so I want to keep it going by just saying whatever comes out of my brain.
It's working.
Oh, shit. What? Oh, fuck.
He's just looking at his phone and saying
Michael J. Anderson.
Who's that?
The Twin Peaks.
Okay. He also does a voice on Adventure Time.
Oh, that's right. No, I knew that. Is he Zergiat?
No, he's not Zergiat, but he's like one of Zergiat's, he's the person that's telling Finn about Zergiat.
Yeah. You gotta have your feelings. See.
Shut the fuck up. You can't.
I think you're overthinking.
Oh my God.
I overthink that you're thinking.
I overthink that you're thinking. I overthink that you're thinking. Anyway, yeah, I'd recommend the movie too.
Okay, cool.
I think it's a pretty queer, anti-fascist.
This season is really maybe think it's worth investigating 80s British cinema.
Right, yeah,
more than
seriously.
any other.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see once we watch. Terry Gilliam excluded, probably. Once we get to Time
Terry
Bandits.
Gilliam, he's
Yep. Say it. Say it.
I'm trying. Okay. The one.
Are you asking for me to name other films? Or you're trying to think of another film? Or
He did 12 Monkeys.
I think so.
And
he also did Brazil.
I've never seen it. What?
Brazil?
I've never seen it.
I thought you told me the ex showed it to you.
No, the ex gave it to me.
Oh, okay.
And I never watched it because it reminded me of them.
Oh, okay. Fisher King.
Thank you. Yes.
Which is actually a defendable film.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not opposed to Terry Gilliam. I like 12 Monkeys.
Well, he's turned into one of those shit heels.
Oh, fuck, that's right. I forgot.
Like most of the other Python guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He also, I forget that he's...
Yeah, well, he was like, I think he did the animations. That's why in every one of his films, a giant foot comes and squashes. I guess.
And even if a D-boy flips in my O, it ain't enough to buy shit anymore. Sleep in the doorway, piss on the floor. Look in the sky, wait for missiles to show. It's finna blow, cause they got the TV, we got the truth. They own the judges and we got the proof. We got hella people, they got helicopters, they got the bombs, and we got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. We got the guillotine. We got the guillotine, you better run. Talk about it, not show. Be about it, spot it low. Talk about it, not show. Be about it, spot it low. I just spit the dope line.
哇，会个哇哦！